At about 11,000 meters deep, the Mariana Trench is the deepest place on Earth. It's a place where eternal darkness reigns, where the pressure can crush a person in seconds, and where terrifying deep-sea monsters live, about which we know almost nothing. Until now. Because one country is now seeking complete control over these depths, and not just for scientific purposes. China is deploying fleets of deep-sea robots, building underwater bases, and quietly controlling what lies on the seafloor while the rest of the world doesn't even notice. In the past 5 years, China has invested more than $50 billion in marine research, more than all the other countries in the world combined. It has established 12 new research centers, hired more than 1,000 leading marine biologists and engineers from around the world, and launched 47 different deep-sea missions. The new Deep Sea Research Institute in Qingdao covers an area of 200 hectares and is equipped with supercomputers that can model ocean processes with unprecedented accuracy. China's CSIC has built special shipyards to build deep-sea vehicles, with new robots rolling off the assembly line every month. A massive underwater robotics laboratory has opened in Shanghai, employing nearly 1,000 engineers. Peking University has launched a training program for deep-sea technology specialists, producing 500 highly qualified engineers in the field each year. While the United States slashes ocean research budgets every year, China is diving deeper, moving faster, and investing more aggressively than any other nation in history. And what they've discovered there changes everything. The Mariana Trench is a vast underwater canyon in the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Philippines. It's the deepest point in the ocean and one of the most extreme places on Earth. The trench is 2,550 kilometers long and 69 kilometers wide, roughly the size of New York State, but it rotates vertically. If Mount Everest were placed at the bottom of the trench, its peak would still be 2 kilometers below sea level. To reach the bottom, you have to cross the entire thickness of the ocean waters, a journey through several completely different worlds, each with its own laws of physics and biology. It's like descending through the atmospheres of several planets, all gathered in one place. On the surface, everything looks familiar. A warm, sunlit area with coral reefs and schools of fish. The water temperature here reaches 28 degrees Celsius, and sunlight penetrates to a depth of 80 meters, creating a rich ecosystem. Dolphins, sharks, rays, and thousands of species of tropical fish live here. But just 200 meters below, the twilight zone begins, where sunlight slowly fades, and the pressure rises to 10 times that at the surface. Strange creatures live here. Silvery, snake-like fish the length of a bus and translucent angel sharks that flutter in the darkness. Giant jellyfish drift like ghosts, and squid with glowing tentacles hunt in the dim light. The temperature here drops to 4 degrees Celsius. There's less and less oxygen. Its concentration drops from 7 milligrams per liter to just 0.5 in this area. Chinese researchers found the first signs of something unusual, unnatural magnetic fields that don't correspond to any known geological structure. The magnetometers on their robots recorded magnetic field fluctuations with an intensity of up to 2,000 nanoteslas, 20 times stronger than normal for this depth. At a depth of 1 kilometer, the pitch-black darkness of the midnight zone begins. The only light here comes from the bioluminescence of the organisms themselves. The pressure is already 100 times greater than on Earth, as if an adult elephant were pressing down on every square centimeter of your body. This area is home to amazing creatures. Giant squid with eyes the size of a football, anglerfish with special eyes that glow like lures, and car-sized jellyfish that float in absolute silence. This is where the legendary giant squid lives, a creature up to 18 meters long with tentacles covered in suction cup-like appendages. The anglerfish lures its prey with its glowing lures directly into its mouth, lined with sharp teeth. Anglerfish, with their massive mouths and telescopic stomachs, can swallow prey even larger than themselves. In this area, Chinese sensors began recording something shocking: the organized movements of large objects, not chaotically, but along specific paths. Analysis of sonar data showed structures the size of multi-story buildings moving slowly across the seafloor. Some of these objects moved at speeds of up to 3 kilometers per hour, unbelievable speeds for deep-sea currents. Chinese scientists officially declared these to be underwater avalanches, but classified documents spoke of the regularity and predictability of these movements. At a depth of 4 kilometers, the deep sea begins, cold, dark, and still. The temperature here remains a constant 2 degrees Celsius year-round. The seafloor looks like ordinary mud, but this mud is deceiving. Over millions of years, everything that dies in the ocean has slowly sunk to the bottom: fish, plankton, and even the smallest particles. This sea snow accumulates layer by layer, forming soft, muddy sediments that in some places are more than a kilometer thick. Hidden in this mud is the history of the oceans over the past 200 million years. Chinese ultra-deep drilling rigs have penetrated these layers and made amazing discoveries. In 50-million-year-old mud samples, they have found microorganisms that are still alive. These ancient bacteria have adapted to conditions found nowhere else on Earth and could hold the key to developing new medicines or even understanding the origins of life on our planet. Of particular interest are so-called living fossils, bacteria that harness chemical processes to generate energy. These organisms existed on Earth billions of years ago, when the atmosphere lacked oxygen. These organisms feed on hydrogen sulfide and methane, converting toxic gases into harmless compounds. When a dead whale sinks to the seafloor, it becomes a magnet for life. Chinese researchers have discovered that the concentration of rare metals around these whale graveyards is much higher than normal. The decomposing whale tissues engage in unique chemical reactions with seawater, extracting valuable elements from the minerals dissolved in the water. A single large whale can create deposits of rare earth metals worth tens of millions of dollars. Seafloor analyses in these areas have revealed high concentrations, from cerium, neodymium, and terbium, essential metals for manufacturing magnets in wind turbines and electric cars. The decomposition process of a whale on the seafloor can take up to 100 years. First, sharks and crabs eat the soft tissue. Then worms and mollusks strip the bones of their components. And finally, bacteria break down the fats within the bones, creating a unique ecosystem. Up to 200 species can live around a whale skeleton, many of which are found nowhere else. Furthermore, biochemists have discovered that bacteria that feed on decomposing whales produce unique enzymes. These enzymes can break down plastic at temperatures as low as 110 degrees Celsius, a discovery that could revolutionize waste recycling. A single gram of these enzymes can fetch up to $100,000 on the black market. Even deeper, at 6,000 meters, begins the hadal zone, named after the Greek god of the underworld, Hades. This is the region of the ocean trenches. Underwater vehicles have rarely reached such depths. The pressure here is 600 times greater than at the surface, equivalent to the weight of 50 elephants per square centimeter. At this pressure, lead becomes as liquid as water, and air is compressed 600 times. Life in the hadal zone seems impossible, but it exists. Chinese robots have discovered colonies of bacteria that feed directly on hydrogen escaping from the Earth's mantle. These organisms survive without sunlight and organic matter. They get their energy directly from deep within the planet. Studying their metabolism could lead to the development of highly efficient next-generation biofuels. Amphibians, tiny thumb-sized crustaceans that resemble translucent shrimps, also live here. They feed on organic molecules that fall from above and can withstand pressures that would instantly kill any animal on the surface. Its cells contain special proteins that prevent cell membranes from being destroyed under pressure. Finally, at a depth of about 11,000 meters, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, The pressure is so intense that it feels as if 90 adult elephants are squeezing every inch of your body. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, Chinese robots have discovered traces of gigantic geological structures, underground caves and tunnels stretching for tens of kilometers. These cavities are so large that entire cities could fit inside them. Initial analyses have shown that these caves were not formed by water erosion, as previously thought, but by ancient volcanic processes. Inside these caves, special sensors have recorded temperatures of up to 400 degrees Celsius and mysterious seismic pulses with a frequency of 783 Hz, exactly the Earth's natural resonance frequency. Some scientists suspect that these caves are connected to the Earth's core via a network of magma conduits. The largest of the discovered caves has a volume of about 50 cubic kilometers, the size of several large underground cities. Analysis of echolocation data revealed that the cave's interior consists of several levels connected by vertical columns. It looks more like a man-made structure of enormous proportions than a natural geological formation. Even at the very bottom, life persists. Xenophyophora live here, giant single-celled organisms up to 20 centimeters in size that build tiny homes from sand grains and organic debris. They filter seawater, extract nutrients, and can live for hundreds of years. The first descent to the bottom of the Mariana Trench took place in 1960. Swiss engineer Jacques Piccard and U.S. naval officer Don Walsh spent just 20 minutes at the bottom in the Trieste submersible. Their craft weighed 150 tons, but could only carry a payload of 400 kilograms. No one repeated this feat for over 50 years. James Cameron made the solo descent in 2012, but his dive lasted only 3 hours. Victor Vescovo made several dives between 2018 and 2022, each costing about $20 million. All of these missions were rare, expensive, and mostly one-off events, until China stepped in. The Chinese approach was radically different. Instead of from prestigious solo dives, they focused on establishing a permanent presence at depth. In 2020, China sent a 3-person team to the ocean floor aboard the Vindu submersible. This submersible was revolutionary. Instead of a steel ball, it used a special titanium alloy 3 times stronger than ordinary titanium. Vindu could remain at the bottom of the ocean for up to 12 hours and carry rock samples weighing up to 200 kilograms to the surface. But this was just the beginning of a large-scale operation. Chinese engineers developed a revolutionary technology: spherical titanium capsules capable of withstanding 1,100 atmospheres of pressure. Each capsule contains an independent artificial intelligence unit capable of making decisions without interacting with the surface. These robots are equipped with quantum processors cooled to near absolute zero, giving them immense computing power, 1,000 times that of conventional computers. In just 4 years, the Chinese built a network of 240 such robots in the Pacific Ocean. Each robot costs around $15 million, but its capabilities far outstrip anything other countries can offer. It can drill into the seabed to depths of 50 meters, analyze chemical composition in real time, conduct small underwater explosions for seismic surveys, and even build simple structures on the seabed. In 2024, the Dragon of the Deep appeared, a robot no bigger than a shoebox and considered a masterpiece of Chinese engineering. Its body is made of a composite material based on carbon nanotubes, so strong that even a bullet cannot penetrate it. Inside, it contains quantum processors capable of processing terabytes of data per second. Its power system is powered by radioisotopes, which can power the robot for up to 30 years without recharging. Weighing only 45 kilograms, this robot is capable of performing tasks that previously required vehicles weighing several tons. Its processors can lift objects weighing up to 500 kilograms, and its drilling unit can penetrate even the toughest rock formations. The Dragon of the Deep robot is equipped with systems that look like something out of a science fiction movie. Its sensors can detect metallic objects the size of a coin from a distance of up to 1 kilometer. Its chemical analyzers can determine the composition of a substance from a single molecule dissolved in water. Additionally, the robot boasts a feature the Chinese prefer not to discuss. It is equipped with a self-replicating system. If the appropriate materials are available, the robot can create a simplified version of itself within 72 hours. China is developing entire fleets of specialized robots. Harvester swarms, roughly the size of a soccer ball, move in groups of 50 robots, collecting microscopic samples and creating detailed 3D maps of the chemical composition of the seafloor. Drillers, 2-meter-long cylindrical devices, bore holes in rock and can collect samples from depths of up to 100 meters. Hunters, fast triangular robots, specialize in searching for specific objects or anomalies and can move at speeds of up to 15 knots, even at depths of up to 8,000 meters. These mimics can change their shape, mimicking marine creatures, disguising themselves as fish, squid, or even jellyfish. Their outer shell is made of a programmable material, a material that can change color, texture, and even bioluminescence, accurately mimicking the appearance of local fauna. These robots can infiltrate the most guarded areas of the ocean undetected. The most secret project is Leviathan, truck-sized robots capable of reproducing and evolving. If they find enough raw materials on the seafloor, they can build a copy of themselves in just a few weeks. Theoretically, a single Leviathan driller could create an entire army of robots, significantly bolstering China's ocean presence without the need to deploy additional robots from the surface. The deep sea contains vast resources, cold seeps, places where methane and hydrogen sulfide seep from the seafloor, nurture entire ecosystems of shellfish, mollusks, and tube worms that thrive without sunlight. Methane hydrates, methane frozen in ice cages, contain energy equivalent to millions of tons of oil. Chinese researchers have discovered that the concentration of methane hydrates in some areas, the temperature is so high that the entire seafloor is literally made of flammable ice. 1 square kilometer of this seafloor contains energy equivalent to 10 million tons of oil. Initial estimates indicate that the Mariana Trench alone contains enough methane hydrates to power the entire world for 500 years. This is 200 times more than all known oil and gas reserves on Earth. The Chinese have developed a technology for controlled extraction of these hydrates. Their robots can carefully heat sections of the seafloor with lasers of up to 50 kilowatts, converting the solid hydrates into gas, which is then collected in special containers. This technology allows China to literally extract energy directly from the seafloor without bringing it to the surface. A single robot can collect up to 20 cubic meters of gas per day. Polymetallic nodules, potato-sized round stones containing valuable metals such as cobalt, nickel, copper, and manganese, are scattered throughout the seafloor. These minerals are essential for batteries, electric vehicles, and renewable energy systems. A single ton of nodules contains more cobalt than all of Africa's land resources combined. Nodules, minerals that slowly precipitate from seawater around tiny nuclei, often bone fragments or teeth from ancient fish, take millions of years to form. Chinese geologists have discovered that the richest nodule deposits are found in areas of ancient underwater volcanoes, where geothermal activity has accelerated the concentration of the minerals. China plans to build a permanent underwater base 2,000 meters deep, dubbed Tianlong, or Heavenly Dragon. This modular structure, made of an ultra-high-strength titanium alloy, is 15 meters in diameter and 8 meters high. The base is designed to accommodate a crew of 12 who can stay underwater for up to 6 months without interruption. The living modules are equipped with air and water treatment systems, hydroponic systems for growing food, and even a solar panel. A gym equipped with equipment suitable for high-pressure conditions. The base is powered by a 50-megawatt independent nuclear reactor, enough to power a small city. The reactor is fueled by thorium, a material that cannot be converted into nuclear weapons, but even in small quantities, provides stable and reliable energy for decades. The cooling system uses ambient seawater, with the outlet temperature rising no more than 2 degrees Celsius, thus causing no impact on the local ecosystem. The most impressive feature of the base is its communication system. The Chinese have developed a technology for quantum communication through water, enabling instantaneous data transfer to the surface. This system is based on the principles of quantum entanglement and operates faster than any underwater cable, with a bandwidth of up to 100 terabits per second. Inside the base are 3D printers capable of creating new robots from materials extracted from the seabed. The printers work with titanium, aluminum, and rare earth metals, and can even produce complex electronics from materials found on the seabed. The base can expand autonomously, building new modules and equipment without assistance from the surface. But there's also something deeply disturbing beneath the surface. Beneath the seabed lies the nervous system of the modern world, undersea cables that carry 99% of international internet traffic. These cables are thinner than a garden hose, yet all the world's information flows through them. Trillions of dollars worth of banking transactions, government communications, military data, and the personal correspondence of billions of people. In March 2025, the Chinese government confirmed the development of a sophisticated deep-sea device capable of severing reinforced underwater cables at depths of up to 4,000 meters. Officially, it's said to be used as a rescue tool, but experts immediately recognized its military purpose. These robots can not only cut cables but also attach coin-sized eavesdropping devices. These devices can intercept all data traffic, emails, banking transactions, state secrets, and military data. Even more frightening, robots can attach remotely detonated explosives. One command from the surface, and dozens of cables around the world would be destroyed simultaneously. In the event of a conflict, this weapon could paralyze entire countries within minutes. Banking systems would collapse, government communications would be disrupted, and military networks would fail. Modern internet-dependent civilization would stand still like clockwork. Western intelligence agencies are aware of this threat, but they are completely powerless against it. The robots operate at depths inaccessible to most military submarines. They can hide in underwater canyons for months and be activated at any moment. Intelligence estimates indicate that the Chinese have already deployed dozens of these devices along major cable routes. Some experts even estimate there are hundreds or thousands of them, silently patrolling the entire seabed. All the planet's major internet arteries, from transatlantic cables to Asian trunk lines, are already under its control. This means that if China wanted to, it could paralyze the rest of the world almost instantly. One coordinated attack, and Europe, America, and Australia would be isolated. For the first time, humanity faces a situation in which its technological dependence has become a fatal vulnerability against a single nation lurking deep in the ocean. Meanwhile, the United States is losing ground. Science budgets are being slashed, and the current administration has drastically cut funding for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the sole agency responsible for U.S. offshore research. The NOAA budget has been reduced from $6.9 billion in 2023 to $4.2 billion in 2025. More than 2,000 researchers have been laid off or transferred. While China pours money and talent into its laboratories, the United States is marginalizing the only agency created to compete in marine research. American research vessels are stranded in ports due to a lack of funds for fuel and maintenance. Research programs that have been ongoing for decades have been shut down. Young scientists are emigrating to work in other countries or abandoning marine research altogether. While Chinese robots are prowling the ocean depths, American marine science is experiencing its worst crisis in 50 years. However, the most shocking discovery in deep-sea research had nothing to do with resources or technology. In June 2024, Chinese robots exploring an underwater mountain range came across a horrific sight. Dozens, then hundreds, of rusty barrels buried in the seafloor mud. The dump covered an area of about 15 square kilometers. More than 50,000 containers were meticulously arranged in a grid spaced about 10 meters apart. Scientists quickly realized that this was not a random dumping site, but an organized mass transfer of radioactive waste, carried out over decades according to a clear plan. Metal analysis revealed that the oldest containers had been disposed of in the 1960s. Many of the casks still bear the labels of European nuclear companies. Europe's largest companies dumped their nuclear waste into the sea, choosing the deepest places where they believed they wouldn't find it. Radiation levels at the center of the burial site exceeded the maximum limit by 15,000 times, a lethal dose for humans within minutes. Many of the containers have already been destroyed by decades of corrosive materials. The steel walls have been corroded by seawater, and the radioactive contents are slowly leaking into the sea. Computer models have shown the extent of the disaster. The radioactive material has already created a 50-kilometer dead zone around the burial site. Ocean currents are slowly spreading the contaminated water around the world. Within a few decades, the radioactive particles will reach the coasts of every continent. Worse still, the burial site is located near an active seismic fault, where earthquakes occur every 15 to 20 years. The last earthquake was in 2019. The next one could strike at any moment. Scientists have conducted detailed simulations of a powerful earthquake. And if that ever happens, underwater tremors would destroy at least 30,000 containers simultaneously. A cloud of radioactive dust would rise from the seabed and be carried by deep-sea currents. Within the first 48 hours, the contaminated water would spread over an area larger than the entirety of France. The most frightening aspect is the impossibility of bringing the containers to the surface safely. Engineers analyzed 47 different scenarios for retrieving the containers, all of which resulted in disaster. If extracted from such depths, the pressure inside the containers would drop so sharply that they would explode like bombs, releasing radioactive materials into the water. Many of the containers are already so corroded that they would disintegrate at the slightest touch. Some contain radioactive liquid under pressure. If such a container were to rupture at depth, it would produce a radioactive fountain several kilometers high, instantly contaminating vast quantities of water. Even attempting to isolate the burial site in situ is nearly impossible. This would require building an underwater sarcophagus the size of a small town, a structure 200 meters high and 5 kilometers in diameter. Such a project would cost at least $1 trillion, and the risk of failure exceeds 50%. Even a successful sarcophagus would only delay the disaster for a few decades. The amount of radioactive material in underwater graves exceeds the amount released at Chernobyl by 200 times. But unlike Chernobyl, where most of the radiation settled within a few hundred kilometers, ocean currents would spread the contamination worldwide. Climatologists have modeled the long-term consequences. According to their calculations, average radiation exposure on Earth would triple 50 years after a hypothetical earthquake. Cancer rates would increase 8-fold. Human life expectancy would decrease by an average of 15 years. Ocean ecosystems would be permanently destroyed. Plankton, the foundation of the entire marine food chain, would transform or die within the first few months. Tuna, salmon, and cod, the most important fish, would disappear. Commercial fish species will starve. Billions of people who get most of their protein from seafood will suffer. The most frightening scenario involves a potential chain reaction. If radiation seeps through cracks in the seafloor into underground aquifers, it could activate other hidden nuclear waste dumps around the world. Over the past 70 years, various countries have secretly dumped their nuclear waste into the oceans. This newly discovered dump is the first of many such graveyards scattered across the seafloor. Scientists fear it is just the tip of the iceberg, as dozens of other radioactive graveyards exist deep in the ocean. The total amount of buried radioactive material could exceed 200,000 tons. If all of these graveyards collapsed simultaneously under the influence of rising radiation, Earth would be a dead planet for decades. The catastrophe has already begun, very slowly, and most people still ignore it. Sensors around the world are measuring increasing radiation levels in fish. The level of cesium-137 in tuna has risen by 15% over the past year. Traces of strontium-90 have also been found in the algae. This means that radioactive material from the marine waste dumps has already begun its deadly journey around the planet. Geologists warn, earthquakes near the dumping zone are not a matter of if, but when. Seismic activity in the area is increasing. Smaller earthquakes are occurring more frequently, and somewhere deep in the ocean, rusting containers continue to slowly disintegrate, ready to turn the cradle of life into its grave.